Shadowmatch is designed to provide a detailed and accurate map of an individual's behaviors and habits, their efficiency, conceptual ability, and attitude. Using the Shadowmatch survey process, we can quickly and easily capture these details. So let's take a look at what specifically is captured and their interpretation. In this video, we're going to focus on just the habits. I'm going to choose the results of an employee in our customer support group as an example to explain the detail, Julie Shepper. Remember, none of the results we'll discuss are necessarily good or bad, simply a representation of personal attributes. As you can see on the screen, we show 19 different habits. For the next few minutes, we'll look at each one in turn. But before we start, notice how we have a scale on the right side of the chart which helps us see the intensity of each habit. Low intensity means that the habit is really only a planned or necessary behavior. In other words, that behavior is exhibited by the individual, but only under situations where the individual consciously makes the decision to do so. Going up the scale, you can see how behaviors truly become habitual as the individual starts to naturally apply themselves given the appropriate context or as an everyday occurrence. This continues up to the point of radical habits, where the individual almost cannot help but apply themselves in the same way to every situation put in front of them. You'll see in the first two cases that we sometimes measure opposing habits together. The propensity to own versus hand off maps whether the individual takes ownership of a task versus giving it to others. In this particular case, Julie can contextually deal with both situations, but has a slight tendency to own tasks and probably will handle tasks herself if she feels she can. To simplify maps whether the individual is able to break down complex challenges into smaller and simpler individual steps that can be more easily approached. Julie will apply this habit easily in day-to-day challenges, but she will find it more difficult to apply it to complex or extraordinary challenges. Resilience maps whether the individual will repeat behaviors in order to achieve a goal, whether applying themselves individually or as part of a team. Julie has a strong resilience habit to the point that she will try again and again to achieve a goal and probably find it very difficult to give up on a task. Propensity to change maps how people behave in the face of change or in certain situations, and whether they thrive or resist those changes. Julie's result shows that she will have to apply energy and planning to affect change or adapt to change, as it is not an automatic behavior. Frustration handling maps whether an individual will engage in a frustrating situation or with a frustrating person in a positive way, i.e., will they maintain control and not allow the frustration to become a negative emotional experience. Julie will not handle all frustrations in a positive manner, but her habit is strong enough that she will be fully on top of the majority of them and drive towards a positive outcome. The opposing habits of team and individual inclination maps an individual's inclination to work as part of a team versus in isolation, and we can clearly see Julie has a strong habit and preference to working in a team versus alone. Self-motivation maps whether an individual finds the energy and drive to persist in a task or job. Although motivation can be external, this is a specific focus on the internal motivation of the individual. Julie contextually motivates herself, so she may experience high levels of motivation for some tasks, but not for everything that crosses her path. Routine maps whether an individual builds habits and behaviors into their daily lifestyle to make life easier and more certain. Julie's routine is a strong habit, and she builds patterns of routine in her day-to-day life, probably often not even realizing it. Problem solving maps whether an individual engages and actively plans to resolve obstacles that stand in the way of progress towards goals. Julie's problem solving habit is strong. She may still choose not to engage with some problems, but she will solve the majority of everyday problems as well as many that are more complex and challenging. Responsiveness maps whether an individual acts immediately when presented with a task or job to do. Julie's responsiveness is strong to the point where she will find it difficult to postpone things on her to-do list, and will prefer to be quick even when it is not urgent. Innovation maps whether an individual finds new ways of doing things or takes initiative towards creating new processes or technology. Julie has a contextual habit of innovation, which means that she will tend towards innovation in her normal working environment, but it must make sense and be applied to a specific goal. People positive maps the way an individual works and relates with other people. Some people have habits of building positive or negative relationships. Julie has a strong habit of building positive working and social relationships, and she will find it easy to create positive relationships with those around her. Discipline maps whether an individual has a pattern of behavior towards working and living under structured, systematic procedures. Julie's strong habit here shows that she is very comfortable in a highly ordered environment with rules and regulations, and will also have a propensity to improve the performance of herself and others through similar structures. Conflict handling maps how an individual behaves in the face of conflict with people or situations. Julie has a radical conflict handling habit. She can handle different types of conflict in different situations and with different people, and she is very proactive in the way she approaches the situations. She will always strive for a positive outcome and manage it in a way that it should not happen again. Altruism maps how an individual will endeavor to help people without reserve or personal gain for themselves. Julie has a strong altruism habit, and she will find it difficult not to help when she can or reach out to people in need. Self-confidence maps the behavior of the individual trusting their own abilities to do their job. Julie has the habit of trusting her own abilities for the majority of routine and normal tasks. However, for tasks that fall outside of typical day-to-day routine, her confidence will be much lower, and she would need opportunity to properly prepare for those situations. And finally, leadership maps the behavior of guiding and energizing a group of people towards a goal. Julie has a strong leadership habit, so she has a propensity to play an important role towards this function, but she may not always be the person leading the group. There are many ways that these habits combine together to provide fascinating insights into an individual and their habits. That's beyond the scope of this demonstration series, but please contact us for more details. In the meantime, you've seen how Shadowmatch can precisely and simply summarize all of the key habits of an individual, which can then be used to develop a benchmark or to map against a benchmark to ensure successful positioning of employees and candidates. For a detailed look at the rest of the results screen, including conceptual map, efficiency, and attitude, please see Part 2 of the Shadowmatch results demonstration.